Hi, all. Hope everybody is doing well today. I was just wondering if anybody else across the nation has noticed the lines at the DMV offices. Most of them are now wrapping around the building. The line is out the front door and around the side of the building, even the ones in my hometown. I kind of know the employee that runs the one below my house, and at times she's the only one in there that does like license renewals, CDL, commercial driver's license renewals, that kind of stuff. So you end up sitting in those offices for hours waiting your turn. It's crazy, and it all has to do with the government. They are cutting funding for these government offices to shrink them. Just like the DMV offices, you go in there, there's hardly anybody working them, so there's a huge line out the door, and there's people that sit in there for hours waiting their turn. It's crazy. And not to mention, the Real ID Act was passed. I'm not sure exactly when it was passed, but it went into effect, I think, May 7th. So that's only going to add to the chaos at the DMV offices. It's going to add to the line. And to get a Real ID, you've got to have certain paperwork proving your address, who you are. It's a different process, but there's a demand for it because people need them at the airport to fly. But I believe that you can use your passport as another form of ID. Also, in addition to the other shrinking offices, the government is still threatening Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and it's just unconstitutional. I can't believe that we are facing times like this. We're having to go through this as a nation. I always thought that stuff like this happens in other countries, not here in the United States, but we are seeing a huge movement, a MAGA oligarchy dictator movement that's happening right here in America. And this current administration is threatening our democracy. They're defying the law, ignoring court orders, leaking out our sensitive information to other countries, computer hackers. I think that things here forward are going to get worse. I definitely believe we're going to go into a recession. The news, you can turn on any news channel, and it's being reported on. The tariffs, the Trump tariffs, are running our economy into the ground, pretty much. I definitely believe by the end of the year we'll be facing a economical recession, and it's hard to accept that as citizens. People are already protesting, but things are still happening. The Trump administration is ignoring what people are protesting about. It's still, people are standing up and screaming no, no. However, the Trump agenda is still going forward. They're still breaking laws and putting these extreme things into action that's threatening our democracy. People are getting deported to other countries. In a lot of cases, citizens of the U.S., they've had their visas revoked without due process, and they're being deported out of the country. When does it stop? When is our Congress when are they going to stand up and say that this is not okay, what's happening? They're going to have to be strong and figure out how to come together and stop this from happening. I'm a big news person. I follow the news. I follow most of the local channels, also the world news, the Wall Street Journal, The Hill. I bounce back and forth from CNN to MSNBC, ABC. I look at the markets, so I'm a big time news person. I have an interest in politics and what's actually happening in our world and our country. By the way, did anybody also notice that our country got moved on travel advisory? Our country is now a level 2. We went from a level 1, which is a level 1 is exercise normal precautions here in the United States when outsiders visit or we have tourism. So we've been moved to a level 2, which is exercise increased caution due to civil unrest, risk of terrorism, street demonstrations. We have protests going on. But that's not the point. I mean, America is supposed to be guaranteed a safe place no matter what for all around the world. Other countries look to America as leading and setting a good example for democracy. But now other countries are looking elsewhere at other countries who are maintaining their democracy and following the laws. Again, we're moving forward into unconstitutional times, and it's very frightening. I think that some of it is from highly uneducated people. A lot of people, they don't read our Constitution. They don't know what's in our Constitution, especially the younger generation. They're too busy looking down at their phones, on the computer, wound up in technology. They've forgotten the basic standards of our country. They don't know what's in our Constitution. So they hear one thing about someone who's running for president or running for any office, and they think it sounds good to them. Again, it's people who don't watch the news, who don't know what the Constitution says, and they just vote for, oh, that sounds good, so I'm going to vote for that person, not knowing who they're really voting for. It's scary. It's scary.